Going north, going south in property, something you never taught at school, but it makes you big money in your life. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about aspect.
Smile mark in the morning.
You like those pearly whites. Look at those pearly whites. There you go, everyone. How are you, Sienna?
Another coughing fit.
Yes, yeah, you struggled last week. I
had to hop off the camera for a few minutes. But I'm well now. The sun's shining. So let's get started.
You know what? It's the perfect day to talk about aspect, ladies and gentlemen. Look out of your window and tell us what you see, because it is a beautiful day. And if you can't see that beautiful day in your property, we want to talk about how that affects your hip pocket and your mind.
Definitely. Shall we start?
We shall.
Well, as Mark said, we're definitely going to be talking about the north aspect of north-facing properties today, and not only as a leasing consultant doing opens, but in residential sales and how that can affect the value of your property. Mark, did you want to start us off?
Well, Sienna, one of the things we spoke about off air is this isn't on the curriculum for education. It's something that we can go our whole lives through our education, through school, through primary, through high school, perhaps even through university, and not be educated on the value or the effect of north, south, east, and west when it comes to the home where you live. So we thought we would go through today and talk about that, because this is something that can add to your hip pocket. This is something that can add to your mind. It can make you happy. It can make you sad, just by purely choosing the right aspect property, how it's perched, where the windows are, whether it's a unit or a house. And also we'll talk about cheeky agents. We often try to claim a north aspect that's not quite with the property.
And definitely leasing consultants as well. We do get a lot of questions at open homes on which the property is facing, and that can also contribute into another open-ended question talking about, is there air conditioning in the property? Is there heating in the property? Especially since if the property is not facing north, you get a little bit cold.
Yep. So, or hot, either or. Now to start off, I'm a bit of a super nerd, but maybe there's people that don't know this. In your Apple phone, you have automatically a compass. This is one of the best tools you can have when you are viewing a property.
Definitely.
This tool is not just when you're inside of the property, but it's which rooms do you want to get that north aspect into, because having a north aspect for your bathroom, your fourth bedroom, and your rumpus room, not a good one. Having a north aspect coming into northeast aspect coming into your living room, your kitchen, your main bedroom, rumpus,
definitely main living areas,
backyard. When you've got your eyes open, have you got that sunny sun supporting you?
Definitely.
So, couple of different things here, Sienna. When you're saying when you're at rental open houses, people are unpacking the aspect. So, why is it that north and east are popular aspects as opposed to south and west?
Well, of course, direct sunlight within the main living areas is really important. As you said, we were speaking before, mind, body, and soul. You know, and not a lot of people want to get up in a dark room. Not a lot of people want to walk into their house after a big day at work and they're in a dark living space. It's definitely really important as a leasing consultant to ensure that we are aware of which the property is facing, because that will contribute to the prospective tenants wanting the property.
Is it worth paying more for the north or east aspect, and how much more will that north or east aspect get? So what do you reckon? Would you invest in the north or the east aspect for yourself? You're going to have to pay more rent.
Look, it's
You have
people's
to, you have to
preferences.
pay more purchase price.
Definitely people's preferences. If with me, definitely I would pay another $20 per week for some sunlight.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to be living in a dark, rental property. It wouldn't suit me as a person, and a lot of people would agree, but a lot of people would disagree. It's personal preferences, Mark. Definitely.
And you know what? I've noticed if people have had a north aspect, they will not give up a north aspect.
Yeah.
It's a bit like also a cul-de-sac in a street. Once people have lived in a quiet cul-de-sac, they chase it when they want to buy again. But north is a big one that I think it goes back to animal instincts. If you put somebody in a cave for a month, no light, no nothing, they are a different person than if you put them on an island for a month. And the fundamental difference between those two things, besides openness, being closed in or being a little bit open, is sunlight. Sunlight will make you happier. Sunlight will give you energy. Sunlight is healthy for you, and people simply can rent a property with a south aspect, not really realise that why the place doesn't really give them that vibe and its aspect, and you're simply not educated on that aspect. So having that's going to make you more money. Choose it. Now, just something about that, and we did a bit of a training with the. Were you part of the training the other day when we did with the north, south, east, west?
Sure was.
Yep. So part of that training is so people don't know, and particularly if you're not living in a coastal area, where the beach or ocean is your east aspect. That's where the sun's going to come up. The sun's going to come up at 6 o'clock ish. It's going to hang around. It's going to be there fast. So if you don't have that east aspect, you're not going to enjoy the sun, the first light of the day. If you have that west aspect, it's the opposite. You'll enjoy the afternoon of the day. But the sunrise is there. But it will hover a lot more in the north, or fundamentally in the north, rather than the south. So when people chase that north aspect and that northeast, they're getting that first light. They're getting that light majority of the day. But when you go down in the west, that sun starts cooking. It'll actually warm up a room quite heavily. So people actually find that west aspect to be quite, humid, sweaty, steamy, and that's when power bills can go up. So this can also affect the aspect choice, can affect your hip pocket.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's coming into Christmas, so a lot of people are looking to get some sunlight into their house. And also, maybe a lot of people are looking for a bit more of a cooler house. And as you said, Mark, the gas bills, electricity, it's all going to contribute.
Yep. So, hey, honest question, not bagging out 18 to 21-year-olds, but do you reckon when does one person learn this? Do they learn it at school? Am I being ignorant? Do they learn it do they live in a couple of properties and realise what they like and don't like? At what point do you actually or does mum and dad go, this is a shit place, you really want north? Like, where does one get this information from when you're busting out of school to rent a property?
Look, definitely learning geography at school, it's definitely not one of the subjects that we learn, which property is facing east, north, west. I think they just tell us, what was the saying? Never eat soggy Whitbix.
Whitbix.
That's what we learn at school. It was never really put in our brain about how important it is to have sunlight in the property, and what the cons of sunlight coming into the property. As we said, electricity, gas, it contributes to everything.
And to the mind and to the body. So south aspect, and this is something people should watch out for as well. Real estate agents will often market that a property is getting the aspect, but it's not actually getting the aspect in the right room. So when you see a house, and when you see, the dream of a house is that you will get a backyard. You will get a living room that looks onto the backyard, a kitchen that looks onto the backyard, and that's like the Australian dream, that you have that. Now, when an agent says north-facing house, that can be correct by that representation, but the front of the house, as in what you look at when you look at the front of the house, is north-facing. Now, often the front of the house is not getting the main living area. It's not getting the kitchen. It's not getting any main rooms. The agent still said it's north-facing, but you don't. But it's actually technically the areas, the kitchen and the main living areas and the main bedroom could be facing the backyard. So it's actually a south-facing backyard. So you sort of got to be careful with that compass there. And you may end up going to a property where it's not that right aspect. Yes, it's north at the front of the house, but you don't want it there.
Yeah. Well said, Mark. Now, I also do have another question for you. Is there any cons of a north aspect property? Now, we did mention bills, but is there anything else we can add on that?
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost you more rent. It's going to cost you more mortgage. On your purchase price, going for that aspect. You may well have a north aspect, but get this, you may be orientated with an adjoining building that knocks out part of it. Yep. Yes, it's still a north-facing unit, but there's a tower. There's a tower next door to it that blocks out half of the north, or even how it's perched on a hill. So you will get robbed of light if you can be a north-facing property, but you're in a gully, and you're not going to get it, and you will enjoy that north only part of the time of the day because of where you are in that gully at the bottom of a gully or something. So I think
where would you find that in Sydney? In the Northern Beaches, where would you find that?
I think there's certain parts of, like, for instance, Cromer. Cromer's got some serious hills around it. Wheeler Heights, Narrowena.
Would you say Coleroy?
Coleroy is sort of that hills to your south and to your west a little bit more. When you've got Coleroy Plateau, the plateau's sort of above you to that west. Narrowena, you don't get it because you're high on a hill. So 360, you're sort of above everything, which is lovely.
Awesome.
All right, legends. So I think I think that this is something people can share with the younger generations about aspect. And ladies and gentlemen, I reckon it's well worth the investment as a real estate agent for a long time. It will make you more money. I believe resale for a property. Get this, Sienna. When it's an easy market, aspect doesn't matter as much. When it's a tougher market, i.e. a rental market or a tougher sales market, people are harder scorers. They will score hard and they will pay a lot less if a property doesn't tick all the boxes. So if you want to galvanize your property to get a good rent all the time, good and bad market, and a good rent and a good sales price, good and bad market, aspect's going to do some heavy lifting for you with that.
Well said. That's a great point, Mark. I'm going to keep that a note.
I'm going to sign out. So go north and have a lovely day. And any other questions for you, Sienna? Do you reckon we crushed it?
I think we crushed it.
Awesome.
All done. I think we covered
everything.
Legend. Thank you. Thank you for all the knowledge, Mark. It's always
good on
great
you, Ledge.
At 7:30 in the morning.
Yes. On a beautiful sunny day. Thanks, Legend. Take care. Hope we help someone out there today. See you, Ledge. Bye.